and then we will be good to go. All right, that is ready to go. All right, everyone, thank you so much for being here today for the next level session on the kvCORE training calendar. So if you're newer to kvCORE and you want to take advantage of more additional training, go ahead and every time you're in your dashboard, there's two places you can access this content. The first of which is this view training calendar here on your dashboard. So when you open that, you can then click on your specific time zone and then see what classes fall within your specific time zone. All of these are free for you to access every day. So with the new year, we now have our Next Level Strategies Open Q&A running every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, and the rest of these are also free for you to access anytime to get additional learning going. You can also access this webinar calendar via support and training at the bottom left of kvCORE, and then webinar schedule. So that's a couple of places you can access that really, really quickly to see, if you have a little lull or you're waiting for people to show up for maybe an open house or something, and you've got a live course at that time, you can pop in. And then if you have to jam out of there, it's recorded so you can come back to that information anytime in the future. So just to let you know, this session is recorded today. You can find all of our next level Q&A webinars at our Inside Real Estate /YouTube link. And when you get here, there's going to be a chance for you to subscribe to these. And I would really encourage you to do that so you know what's being posted, because we post something in here just about every day of the week. You can also access a player list. I'll go ahead and make sure I add that link on here, but there's actually a sheet you can look at anytime to find our next level strategies, any of our agent quick starts, 1, 2, 3, or 4. So if you're like, hey, what did Brett teach last week for session 4? You can go right to that date and time and his name, click on it, and then open up that particular recording. And I'll make sure you all get that link right now. Let me pull that link and drop it into chat for you. And I'll also get that added to the doc. One moment here, and I'll get that chatted to you. Or maybe 2 moments. It seems to be a Monday for me today. All right, there you go. And then I'll also drop that information right here. Okay. So that should give you access to all of this information at your fingertips 24/7. If you have questions while I'm speaking, I do ask that you please use the chat button. I'll try to respond to those as quickly as I can, or if I'm not able to address it, I'll follow up with you after the session. So today is all about, hashtags, a word, organizations, a verb, that song. But basically, we're going to talk about what is a hashtag, how do we use it every day in our business, and actually, how do we make it work for us when it comes to triggering communication and so forth? So at the top here, basically it's just saying, what the heck is a hashtag? So if you're newer to kvCORE, when you're looking at hashtags in your smart CRM, maybe you've got some things coming in for paid lead advertising or core concierge, or maybe even tags pertaining to specific phone numbers or sources that are coming into your system. But basically you've got these little hashtags that land underneath your contact names in here. So I'm going to make my screen a titch larger here so you can see this a little easier. And what you can do when you're looking at your smart CRM layout, you can be like, all right, well, this person is a type buyer. They're a buyer that's in my sphere status. And a differentiation of them within these two buckets is this hashtag, NFL playoffs. So it might help to think of like your entire smart CRM of kvCORE as your giant metal filing cabinet. And then you can pluck people out based on where they're at in that filing system. Are they just a main buyer? Or are they a buyer that's a sphere? Are they a buyer that's in your sphere and have a specific tag attached to them? And what this allows you to do over the grand scheme of time when you're using hashtags, statuses, lead types, and so forth, you can go into your filter here. And you can say, hey, kvCORE, I want to see everyone in my entire dashboard. So I can either click specific statuses or just let it all roll just by not clicking any. I want to see everything that has a detail of being a buyer, a seller, a renter, or just leave them open that have the hashtag of NFL playoffs or a specific hashtag that I'm seeking for, because I want to find a grouping of people. So I can say whenever they have this tag on them, I want to find this particular list. If I'm going to consider making this a newsletter list or a dialing list, I can then say, well, I actually want to see if they have a phone number or not, so I can have them on my dialer list. I actually want to make sure they have an email address with me so I can put them on my newsletter list. Or if you just want to see the whole list in general, you just pop on down here and click Apply Filter. So now we're looking at everyone in my entire database that's a buyer in my sphere that has NFL playoffs on it. And that allows you to actually create, the specific dialer list, a specific newsletter list that you can use in advanced, scheduled advanced emails. And from here, you could also say, okay, well, I'm going to send everyone on this list here a email, a text, or if you're using Core Video, powered by BombBomb, you could send a video message right off of your dashboard to these folks, like, oh my gosh, did you see those playoffs this weekend? Whatever it is. And then you could refer to that and then let them know, hey, I'm going to update you next week, whatever's happening, with the games. But you can loop into people here really quickly just by finding like to like and sending them all the same type of messaging, whether it's going to be a core voicemail drop, a core video, a mass email, a mass text, a scheduled mass email, what have you. So I see a question has come in. Can we see a list of all who opened the email? Fantastic question, Patricia. And hello, good to see you here. When we're looking right now at tracking opens, we're looking towards having reportability to where you can see an actual list altogether. Currently, what you can do is you can go into your dashboard here at the upper left of kvCORE. And within your activity stream here, this is kind of like that pulse point of your business. You can, if you're an admin, of course, you'll choose your viewpoint. Are you looking from the company down, an office, a team, or a specific agent? But you'd go into all activity, email events. So this is where you can see this right now. They're working towards having this be within a report generated for 22. So it is coming. And Kelly's saying, hey, is there a way to mass delete a hashtag? Yes, indeed, Kelly, and we will loop into that for sure. So in this case, you can see here, like Jenna opened this email and viewed the email, etc. Now, in the future, when you're going to be looking at your email events, you can actually go into your business analytics here on the left-hand side of kvCORE. So if you want to, as a little aside, if you want to have your whole menu showing here instead of just icons, you can click this little hamburger here at the top to expand that out. If it gives you a little peace of mind so you can actually see it and click it. Or if you just want the icons, just minimize that little guy. So we're going to go down here to business analytics. And what you'll find is in kvCORE activity, again, if you're an admin, you can choose your scope. If you're an agent, you're only going to see your name here. But you can go into kvCORE activity. And we're going to have a reporting system for lead response rates being dialed in within, they're working on that for 2022. So there will be more information coming soon on that trackability. Now, Kelly's saying, hey, is there a way to mass delete a hashtag? Patricia's saying, hey, is there a way we can add a hashtag through a group email? Yes, and yes. So first, let's take a look at deleting that hashtag, getting the old 86. What you can do is go into your marketing, all marketing, and then down these little options here down the line, you have hashtag management right here. And this will allow you to look at specific groupings of hashtags or hashtags. Maybe you have some that are plural and some that aren't, and you need to merge them together. You have all sorts of opportunity here. And something to keep in mind is you can only delete hashtags that you yourself have created. So if you are with a brokerage that assigned a contact to you that has a hashtag attached to it that came from that broker owner, you will not be able to get rid of that hashtag. If it's one you applied yourself, free game. But again, to get here, you're going to go into your marketing, all marketing, and then hashtag management. And I'll make sure to send additional information out here. But basically, you can look at this and click into it, and then you can click edit if you need to create a new name for it or merge it with an existing tag. So it gives you the ability to have a little leeway there to be creative with whatever your naming conventions might be. Now, when we're speaking to creating like a dialer list or a newsletter list or something, you can see on my list here for my Smart CRM, I've got my 2021 newsletter list, a birthday list, all these, lists across the top, like buyer active, no new, that are new, but I don't have a phone number. So let's say I wanted to find everyone in the system that is a buyer, and I just want to have them on a dialer list. I can go into my filter here. I can go in and say, I want to see everyone who is a new and active lead that is a contact detail of being a buyer. And within this detail, I want to make sure they have a phone number because I'm going to put them on a dialer list today. And then maybe I even want to have it a time frame like, okay, who haven't I contacted in X amount of time? Or do I want to make sure I've called everyone in the last 7 days? You can make sure you've got these little lists here to kind of keep you in checks and balances. I'm just going to pull everything. And then I'm going to click apply filter. And at the same time, I'm going to save this filter. And I'm going to call this my new, maybe if the spelling is key, my new active buyer dialer. And if I want, I can actually pin this filter as a quick link to the top of my Smart CRM, or I can just omit it and just still build the list, the filter, just by clicking save. So either way, you can either pin it across the top or just save it without pinning it, but it still saves the list for you. Now, currently, I have that list up in front of me, but let's say you're on your mobile device or you want to find this list the next time you log in, maybe it's dialer day, smile and dial day. You would basically just pop into your Smart CRM, whether it is on your app or your desktop laptop, go into your filter, go into select saved filter, and look for that buyer dialer list. So you can see every list you've ever created in here, but only the ones you opted to have land at the top will. Then you can choose that, it'll bring up that list, and then you can start dialing just by clicking this little button here. And then when you click call now, the system will then call this phone number and attempt to connect you with this person. If you are doing these as part of your daily dials on the front side of your dashboard, it's really imperative, actually anytime you call someone or somebody calls you, to click log call and note what happened and what you discussed, and then click contacted, or of course not home or bad number, depending. Or if they call you, click inbound and note it. And if they say, hey, you know what, I'm not ready to move yet, it's going to be 2 years, I'm retiring in 5, whatever it happens to be, maybe I'm fixing my credit, you can say, okay, well, I'll call you in XYZ. And then you can actually create a repeat call. You can say, all right, well, you know what, I'll check in with you about 6 times over the next couple of years or year, just to check in and see how things are going with the market. Schedule call. I see another question has come in. How much is the dialer? The dialer is free and built in, Patricia. So when you use our single line dialer, you can use it from your desktop, and it'll basically, when you click the little dialer here, it'll call you and attempt to connect you with this person. So it's like a conduit. So it's not like they're going to be waiting like, hello, hello. Basically, we call you and attempt to connect you. You log the call. And then when you're ready to move on to the next one, you can either go right here to Richard Browning, click the call list, or if you go into the first one, then you can kind of look at these people and be like, okay, how did they end up here? What have they been looking at? You can take a look at some insights, see if there's any additional information, click new call. Then to move on to the next record, you just click next here at the upper right. Does the system document the call but not the actual content? So, Brent, what you can do, and hey there, guy, haven't seen you in a while. Basically, what the system can do is at the brokerage level from the top down, hey, hi, from the brokerage level at the top down, they can actually opt to have calls recorded. So with that, the brokerage needs to make that decision as a brokerage whole. So you can have the recording land in there, but then of course you have to consider all of your federal and local laws when it comes to recording and make sure you've got all your, your dots over your I's and your crosses over your T's, But you can have the call recorded when it's decided to with your brokerage. But will the system track or document the call was made? Yes, Brent, only if you are using like this new call and you log the call. So like if we were to log this person, I might be like, talk to Richard, looking for a single family home near Ridgefield High School. So you would need to add your note in here to understand what you spoke with them about. But at the same time as adding your note when we're speaking to hashtags, you can also say, looking for single family home near Ridgefield High School. That could just be talk to Richard, looking for, and then maybe it's, hashtag. Then the system would be like, well, what of your hashtags that currently exist do you want to add here as a note? Maybe we don't have one, parties on weekends. You could also put in looking for a single family home by Ridgefield High School, like a RHS. So you could have your own little codes to put in here to keep track of what you've discussed and then start looping them into hashtags. Maybe it's looking for a single family home near the high school with access to a local park or something. So you can keep track of all of these different elements with the hashtag, but in order for the system to know what conversation took place, one, it does need to be noted, and then a status needs to be used here for like, was this action completed with kvCORE? And then two, then another call can be set up for the future, and you can add tags in for different types of follow-up. When I add this in here and click contacted, you're going to see the single family home for Ridgefield High School and local park access get added to this record and added over here on their hashtag list over here in Insights. So let me go back in there. Just add in notes. So when you add in that tag, this is the only place in the entire dashboard you actually need to physically add that hashtag symbol when you're adding information in as well. So you can see it added the RHS single family home, and we were able to add that hashtag to this person. And now anytime someone else asks for homes near that high school, you can just drop in that tag and you can have them all grouped together. We had the same school as spelling teacher. Spelling is my power today, apparently. And then Patricia saying, hey, so the phone number the person calls is our cell phone, correct? Okay, so there's two different ways you can use the dialer. If you're dialing from the desktop, like I am right here, the system will utilize the smart number tied to kvCORE. If you're using the dialer via your mobile app for kvCORE, it will show your cell number as the line. So you can let people, you may be seeing correspondence from me from this number or my cell number. I know the reminder tasks and calls or track can also track the texts. Yes, so when you're texting someone, you're going to be able to go into someone's timeline, like this one for Richard Browning, and we can actually look at everything that's been sent, whether it is, a hashtag added, an outbound call completed, whether it was a campaign was removed, a text messages have been sent. You can kind of see everything in one fell swoop. You can also go into your little picker here for all activity, and you can say everything that I have sent outbound, everything they have sent me inbound, like any responses they've sent. What have I sent out that's outbound? What calls have I made? What notes have I added? So you can see specific things in here that speak to, specific things you want to follow up on. Like maybe they're like, hey, did you see that place that I saved last week? And you're like, sure I did, but really you're like, no. You can jump in here and just click properties saved. And if they've saved any properties, they'll land right here. So there's different types of viewpoints you can have in here to see specific types of things like texts right there, inbound and outbound. Tom McKenna, can you see the email open and links click? So right now, email open is going to show up in here. And then it'll also show if they were opened or clicked. There will be reporting that is coming via business analytics here on the left of kvCORE, and that'll land in kvCORE activity. So you're going to see lead response rates here coming soon. Now, one thing to keep in mind also when we're looking at this is I really, really encourage you to look at this unengaged leads section. Because this is going to tell you, okay, of all of the thousands of people or my lead database I have in here, who's not getting what? What information gaps do I have for my communication? So you can actually go in here and click on that little blue arrow. It's teeny tiny, but it's just to the right of that number. So as a company right now, so I'm an admin for a company, of my overall umbrella look, I have 28,000 leads that aren't getting an alert, 29 no market reports, 27 no campaigns. I can also look at this from an individual agent point of view since I have an agent seat to see that as well. And Tom McKenna is saying, can you see the email open and links clicked on the timeline? You should be able to see it within that specific email. So what you can do in here is you can go in and look at yourself and see, all right, I want to make sure I'm identifying these gaps. And you can create a list here, like a running list for your smart CRM on who needs alerts. So we just brought that list over into our smart CRM. I can click into filters applied, and you need to clean this up a little bit. So what I would say is still look at it from everything, every status, but then make sure you're going in here and saying, all right, on behavioral, I want to make sure that if they don't have alerts, I'm looking at people who actually do have an email. So if we go into our details, we can actually toggle. Let's make sure they have an email. So it's an actual list that speaks to people who have an email that don't have alerts. Then we can put it down here to apply filter, save filter, and then this would be like, needs alerts. And then you can pin it to the top of your filter at the top. And then you have a listing alert feature for you to actually look at every day of people who might need to have listing alerts, market reports, and so forth added to them. Now, let's talk a bit about some of the hashtag usages in here. And let me grab the link to this sheet for you. One moment, and then we'll take a look at all these little goodies. So this is going out to everyone in chat. Brent's saying, hey, do you recommend archive or deleting dead leads? Well, unless I've actually gone and actually taken their pulse, I don't know if they're dead. So what I would say is drop those people into archive, or prospect. Like if there's someone, like the differentiation might be, if they told you, hey, Brent, never call me again, never text me again, then of course, drop them into archive, unsubscribe them. If they say to you, don't call me, don't text me, one or the other. Like if we were talking to Richard, and he's like, don't ever call me again, but texting's fine, or don't email me, but this is fine, or don't text me, but email is fine. You can finesse the type of communication they're getting. So you can go into the individual contact record. You can go into more actions and say, all right, well, they don't want me to text them, or they don't want me to email them, but that still leaves one of those two communication channels open. So it's not an all or nothing thing to think about unsubscribes, one. Two, if this guy's like, you know what, I'm not ready, maybe in a few years, and you're like, oh, they're quote unquote dead, right? They're toe up. Just pop them into prospect, let them hang out by the pool, make their decisions, live their lives. You could put them in archive. The thing about this is whether you have them in archive or prospect, if they come back to your website and they start engaging again, the system's going to pop them right back from archive or prospect into new lead, active lead. So it's going to bring them back. If you go through here and you just actually delete them, that is like they gone. You're not bringing them back. They're not going to show up as that new active lead with prior history attached to them. So kind of look at your finesse on how you're going to get that information. If they're like, don't ever call me again, well, then remove them from calls and texts. Leave them on emails only. You know, you can do these types of finesses to match their communication preferences. Hopefully that explanation helped a bit in kind of thinking about how you can be thoughtful with that. But a deleted lead could re-register later. Yeah, so if they came back to you and they registered again, you know, if they registered at the company site, they could be round robin. If they come back to your site and they're in archive or prospect, they're going to still be yours. And Roland is saying, hey, Roland, what do you do with the contract people? Leave them at contract forever? So what I have found people doing is like when they're looking at that overall status timeline, right? That transaction timeline. Like if we're looking at Richard and he's been in contract closed, maybe we've closed this guy now. Some folks will actually have them, can you reactivate archive contact? So when they're archived, that's one of those tricky things because when somebody is archived, generally speaking, they're unsubscribed. And we don't want to reactivate them unless they have requested it. So that's why with a lot of these folks, I'm like, you know what? Just think of prospect as hanging out by the pool. We don't need to worry about them. We're just going to let them do things on their own time. And Mark's saying, hey, this is recorded. Yes, it is recorded, and you will be able to refer back to this really easily. And I'll go through where everything is located at the end of our session here. So in speaking to like contacted or contractor closed, what you're going to see is like, okay, these people are like kind of new to me. I don't know much about them. They don't know much about me, but now they've started looking at things and talking to me. So now they're an active lead. Now, when we put them to client, you know, maybe I have the feeling that I am their people and they have the feeling that, you know, they are my people. We've got that trusted relationship building. Contract, maybe you have them to sign an agreement to look at homes or to buy and sell a home or to sell a home. Closed, you could move them there for that closed transaction, whatever it happens to be. And then some people will leave them here for a year and just send out nice little touches, maybe a market report once a month, just little things about a happy house anniversary, month 3, maybe it's spring, time to clean your gutters, this, that, and the other thing, you know, nice little handy tips. And then after a year, maybe you move them into your sphere because people move X amount of times in their lifetime. So why not get them staged after a year to go through this journey again? So there's different approaches you can take, but I think this is a really solid one. And then you can use your hashtags like whenever you added them to closed, maybe you moved, you know, Richard over here to closed. You can click yes, we've moved him to closed. Then you would go into your profile detail, edit this, go into this second column over, drop the closed date in here. So if we closed with them on the 3rd and toggle this little guy on, it'll automatically send a happy house anniversary email and text. I'm going to turn that off so we don't accidentally send Richard something. Oh, I could have used like, instead of, we're going to fire something out to Richard Browning. There's my pun of the day. Okay. Then we can go into the timeline and then we can add the hashtag of closed Jan 2022. That way we'll know when we look at this tag a year from now, or maybe we make it closed Jan 2023, that's who we know to move into the sphere again. So then when that rolls around, like if we look closed January 23, let me put that in there a little different. When you start building in these little things, then you can go in over time. I'm going to close that out and I can go into my filter and I can say, all right, well, it's January of, 23. Who do I need to move into sphere right now? So then I can go into my contact detail, hashtag, and then I would put in that hashtag information here. So close January 23. apply filter, because I just want to see everyone that has that filter applied, which should just be one person right now. But then whatever your list is, then you can choose them all, more actions, and then you can change their status and drop them into sphere all in one fell swoop. So it's kind of a way that you can finesse that voyage. Then Brian's saying, hey, can you share a list of hashtags? Oh, Brian, I hope you're sitting. So we do have a list of hashtags. So I have this whole section here. When you look at this doc, you can actually click these little guys here to go to each chapter. So what hashtag should I use? And boy, do we have a list for you. This is compiled from all of our support staff, our customer success, account managers, our training staff, our trainers, and input from all of you as well. So this kind of gives you an idea of common hashtags. And again, the only place you ever physically need to add that hashtag symbol is when you're adding a note on a contact. So when we're looking at common hashtags, maybe it's, non-owner occupied, neighborhood buyer, neighborhood seller, Main Street 123 buyers, investors, all this good stuff. You could put it in like summer buyers, fall buyers. To me, I might be like summer 23, summer 22, fall 22, that type of thing. I would put dates or months in there. So like if maybe you have one in here that's like, buying spring, buyer spring. Well, what spring, right? Is it going to be May 23, 22? The more direct you get here, the better you can orchestrate your communication and have that leeway of sending things specific and touching back with these people. Because if somebody says to you today, oh, you know what, I'm thinking of selling in 6 months. Well, they really should be preparing for that sale, starting that preparation now, or at least a few months ahead of time before they think, well, they're just going to list and it's going to be super easy. There's a little, work that goes into it. So you can add in that insight for yourself to start working with them on why they should work with you now. What do we need to prepare and so forth? Do you want to track specific things that you want to call back to them on when you're having a discussion with them? Like, hey, did you catch the XYZ sports things? Or wasn't that curling match amazing? I mean, Winter Olympics are coming, right? But you can actually tag this information to keep track of things maybe you have in common or things that they like. Or maybe if you're putting together a newsletter about local high school team scores or blogging about it, you can make sure and send them the link to that blog or that newsletter altogether with that based off of that hashtag list. Are you communicating with your lender on specific things? So do you want to track different financial things you've spoken about? Because whenever you tag this, your lender is going to be able to see that tag as well. So it gives them the idea of, okay, what have they talked about? What can I look at? And then they can also look at the other tags to be like, oh, cool, they're a Dodgers fan, they're a Ducks fan, whatever it is. Also, think about how you refer to people. So like one of our fellow, our director of training, Kelly, she puts together a garage sale for her entire neighborhood every year. So she has them on a garage sale participant tag so that she can send them newsletters. She can be able to print out tags via kvCORE to mail out letters, and maybe it's going to be stickers. I think she puts together a whole garage sale kit for people. So you can think about how you refer to these people, like the Red Door Club, people who paid off their mortgage. And you could even probably think of a way to create some type of a mortgage people, maybe 3 to 5 years down the line. Maybe they're going to be potential refi people that you work with your lender on, potential refi business for them to keep them in the relationship with your lender and yourself, right? What type of buyer are they? Are they looking for luxury? Are they selling luxury? First time? Are they a hometown hero? Are they, a civil service that we need to talk about hometown hero programs that we offer, or first responders? I can't remember what silverware buyer is. Maybe it's someone you met at Macy's and you're buying silverware. I don't know. I'll have to ask the trainer on that. But you can kind of see how you can finesse all of these hashtags to speak to whatever makes sense to your noggin. Also, you can hashtag your trusted partners, because when you have your trusted partners in your sphere, whether it's your landscapers, your plumbers, your home insurance, your referral agents, locksmiths, whoever it is, you can also create specific campaigns to go out once a quarter to these folks to remind them that they're partners with you. You could do videos with these folks on fencing tips to send out to your homeowners. You can say, hey, we're here with Locksmith Kelly, and we're looking at these types of locks on your home. They're really easy to change out. So maybe it's a simple how to change a lock or a doorknob on your home, but something that lends their expertise to your business to build that confidence. So all of these are really great to use. Also, like if someone's like, hey, who do I ask to do this? You have a list of trusted partners that you can pull up with a hashtag, and then you can send information over to those folks. So, it's really a way of looking at your smart CRM globally on what you can offer to everyone within here, whether they are a trusted partner that's in your sphere, people in your prospect who's just kind of like, I don't know you, you don't know me, but I'm just gonna let you hang out and do what you want until you come to me. Do I want them as a new lead, just looking and actively? We're starting to get that relationship going over to, client contract closed. So hopefully that kind of gave you a nice little flow of things. Now, one thing I want to make sure you're aware of, whenever you have a hashtag, so let's say we go in here and we create a squeeze page over here for our lead engine tools. So let's create a squeeze page for a market report. Or actually, we're going to do it for just multi-property. We're going to do a single link for multiple listings. If you haven't built a squeeze page prior, basically this is about having kvCORE use your MLS, which is connected and lives in your dashboard and on your website, saying, hey, kvCORE, build me one clickable link that is branded to me, the agent who's creating the link, and send them to my website to see the results. So what I could do is go in here and could put in the area of like San Diego. I could say I want to see everything in San Diego County or the city of, or San Marcos or Santee, what have you. It can be a county, a zip code, an area, a neighborhood. You can even go in here and draw on a map of a specific area to see specific listings. So if you want to look at this and be like, all right, well, I want everything in Oceanside from the casino or this beach down to Carlsbad. You could click in here and you could just draw right along the freeway and pull all of the listings within this section. Or you can put in the areas here. Next thing you can do is identify the listing type. So within this, do we want to only pull single family homes? Do we also want to put in townhouses? You can actually put in little parts of keywords here as a quick little pick. And then with style, I normally omit this because it gets kind of muddy. When you add these in, it might do something to your results just because they might have this feature and the listing agent might not have chosen it. It's just one of those things where I just leave style alone. Then I can put in my price range. This is kind of important if you want to define, like, I don't want anything showing up on this list under $350. Like if you have a floor of the types of listings you want to work with, this would be where you would put that. Or maybe you want to see everything from $350 to $650. You could say this is for all homes in San Diego County between $350 and $650. You could also add in your square footage, acreage. Maybe you want to say 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. At the bottom here, you actually have options. If you leave this blank, it's going to pull every listing within those results, or when you're in the history of doing, and building your history of doing a property search of the day, which is a really good habit to be into. You can click into options and you can say, all right, well, today is just listed Monday. Maybe it's Fixer Fridays, newly built Wednesdays. Maybe it's Golf Course Friday, Pool Saturday, Green Star Sunday. But you can actually put these options here to pull quick lists as well. So if I went in here and I wanted to pull reduced, I could say I want to pull every listing that's reduced with 3-bed, 2.5 bath from $350 to $650. That is these 3 types of properties in this county. My last thing I'll do over here is add a hashtag. This might be where I go, SDCTY for San Diego County, single, this could be like buyers. And to me, I might be like 350 to 650 red for reduced. That's how my head would work on this. So when I look at this tag, I know it's for San Diego County. It's got the SDCTY. I know it was for buyers. I know it was for buyers looking between 350 and 650 at reduced listings. So you can create a hashtag that speaks to whatever makes sense to your head and how you think. That's just kind of how I would think of it. So here's a couple of questions here. That's like 2 houses, Brent. Yeah, I know. Well, in that county, maybe so. So what I can do here is maybe just, go here from like 500, maybe a little more realistic in that area would be 500, 800, or 900, right? And then I would go over here and change up my tag. So SD County, that was buyers, 5 to 800 reduced. So that would be the tag I'm going to have landing on this. Then all I have to do is click generate link. And the system is going to pull all of the results that match these parameters directly from the MLS, but brand it towards me, the agent. So it's kind of like another yellow brick road. People bring in, this is going to bring people right to your website every time. If you're going to post on Facebook, you're going to use this direct link. And you're going to pop over to your Facebook discussion page, your timeline, LinkedIn, Twitter, wherever you're going to post these for free. Create post. Pop that little guy right in there. You're going to see an image land here after a dramatic pause from Facebook, maybe 2 dramatic pauses. Once you see an image here from one of the images from the results and your address here for your URL, you can 86 that information. And this is where, again, I'll mention, do your property searches of the day. We're like property search of the day. All homes in X between this and that, whatever it is. And then you can throw a few emojis on there. And you don't have to make the sound effects like I do, but it's kind of fun. And then you just click post and out it goes. And this is a free way of generating organic leads to your site. When people register on this link, when they click on this, it's going to take them to your website to see the results. So there's 28 within those parameters in San Diego. And then, of course, anything they look at is going to be logged on the dashboard. Now, one thing you can do to automate a listing alert for this area is you can also say, all right, well, I've got my hashtag here of SD County buyers, 500, 800 reduced. Whenever this tag lands, I want to kick off a special campaign and listing alerts. I just want it to happen because I don't want to worry about it and like reactively have to take care of this later. I'm going to proactively do it. So to me, my mantra is whenever you create a hashtag, something associated with a hashtag, whether it is a landing page, a squeeze page, a zap coming in from an outside source to kvCORE, an API nation with a hashtag attached to it, make sure that you're utilizing that tag to work for you and put it to work. So we're going to use this hashtag and we're going to go into all marketing, your little airplane here. Second line down, search alerts. This is where some of that magic starts to come into play. So this is where we can say, I'm going to create an alert for whenever XYZ lands as a hashtag, I want these listing alerts to go out. So I'm just going to go to create alert and I'm going to type in that tag. So it was San Diego County buyers, and then it was 500, 800 reduced. So I'm going to put that tag in there. And because it's for me as an agent, I'm going to leave it for myself. But if I was creating something for a company trigger or a team trigger or an office trigger, I would look at my scope of influence and choose accordingly. If you're an agent, you'll only see your name here. And then you just put in the area. So you're recreating that squeeze page, but for an alert trigger. So you can say whenever this alert lands, it's going to pull information in this area for reduced listings that are single family, townhouses, condos. And it's going to be a minimum, 3-bed, 2.5 bath, and it's going to go up between 500,000 and 800,000. So you can get pretty, detailed here. And then you can set the frequency. So if you've got super low inventory, like it's, like a little, you can click ASAP or daily. The difference being ASAP is anytime something hits from an MLS update that hits us from your MLS, it'll go immediately, whatever lands and matches these criteria. Or you can send a capsule of daily, twice a week, once a week, twice a month, or monthly. You can also toggle this on if you want the people to also get open house alerts to go when something lands as an open house alert that matches the criteria. Or you can leave that off if you don't want to be sending people to an open house without representation. So when you click add alert, we have now added that tag in, and we can actually find it in here. So it was SDCTY. We can actually do a keyword search here to find it. And we can see here's my tag. It's going to trigger to San Diego from me twice a week whenever that tag hits. So now anyone that follows this link we created for the squeeze page and registers will automatically get listing alerts set up. Let's see, there's a couple of questions I'm going to catch up with here. You can also do this as a landing page, Brent. Yes. So if you wanted to create, you could take this squeeze link here that we created. We can copy that. We can go into landing page. And what we're looking at here, if no one's ever done one of these before, this is the lead gen landing page. This is the one that opens up automatically here at the top left. This is the one you'll probably use 80 to 85% of the time. But what basically we're saying is, okay, where are we going to send people when they click this orange button? We're going to send them to the URL after login. So that's our squeeze page. So when they click this button, we're sending them to this link. This is where we put our squeeze page link, our blog link, our buyer guide link, our seller guide, whatever it is we're going to share with them. We want them to opt in to get. Then we take our hashtag, which we have written out right here, or if you have a good noggin in your head, remember it and type it in. But you can copy it, but do not use the little tag mark itself. You don't need to add that when you're adding it to the hashtag here. You never need to add the actual physical symbol. Don't do it. Just type in the tag itself. So now we have our tag in place. We've got our link in place. We can choose our background. These are reduced listings. So we can actually just go right on down here and click reduced. Boom, drops it in. And it's a lead type of being a buyer. So we know when we look at this, it's going to be a buyer lead. These are going to be new buyer leads that we're looking at reduced properties. They're going to go look at reduced properties in San Diego County. And here's the tag that will be attached. Once we have that top section filled out, this is where we can go in and say San Diego homes starting at, or 500,000. 800K. Now, however you want to have that show up, right? Maybe it's between. That would probably be a little better verbiage. So San Diego homes between 500 and 800,000. And then you could say, free list of hot buys in and around your town, or maybe this is see all homes that have minimum 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath that are reduced in price. And then if you don't want these little guys, you can double click them to get rid of them. You can also type over the information. To me, whenever I'm sharing a whole list of listings like this, I really don't need these little 4 hashtags because I'm telling them everything right here. So maybe I add in here reduced San Diego homes between 500 and 800,000. See all homes that have a minimum 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath that are reduced in price. Boom. I see a question here. Let's see here. Let me look through this real quick here and make sure I've caught up. Okay. And Rose Angela saying, hey, when a listing isn't mine, can I do that? Yes, because when you're doing a list of listings, it's just like pulling a list of listings directly from your MLS. If you're going to create a single property squeeze page or a single property landing page or a core property boost or core playbooks for a single listing that's not yours, I would definitely follow your local rules and regs. You know, maybe check with your broker, and then also always ask for the listing agent and broker permissions to advertise that property and get it in writing. All right, let's see what else we got here. Can you set up an Aries page in an alert and auto send to a lead? Yes, Brent, and I'll show you how to do that. And then Tom saying, hey, I noticed the landing page doesn't ask for the name. So what happens is whether you send them to the regular squeeze page and they have to sign up as a lead, or you use the landing page, it's always going to collect the email and or phone number. And then you have the ability of adding in a name later if you need to. The system will always ask for that email, and then it'll run a data validation on that email and or that phone number, depending on what they use to opt in. So let's say this is ready to go. We've given the once over. We got our tag in place. We got our submit button text. We can change that if we want from see the list now to like, you know, show me the deals, whatever you want to put here. Maybe it's, you know, pool Saturday. It's, you know, splash into your pool home. I don't know. But then you can just click save here at the top. And it's basically saying, hey, heads up, once you save this by clicking OK, you cannot edit this. So to me, I'm always like, all right, let's give it the old hairy eyeball again to make sure I've spelled everything right and it has everything correct. So click save or good to go, click OK. And now we have our final tag landing page to get people to those same listings as that squeeze page. So now we can share this out by using our little share guy here at the top left by clicking into these social medias. When you click one of these little social media icons, you can choose your audience. Maybe it's your own timeline and a friend's timeline, a group, an event, your own page. Then you do like your property of the day information. One thing to keep in mind that kind of freaks some people out once in a while, I'll get some panicked emails, is when you click post to Facebook on this pop-up, its job is done. So it's going to post to your page and it's going to disappear. So don't let that catch you off guard. It's supposed to happen. You can go to your dashboard on your Facebook business page, refresh the page, and then you'll be able to see it. So this would be the landing page for those reduced San Diego homes, which takes me to the landing page where it says, hey, lead, give me your email and or cell, and then show me the deals. When you use a landing page, when they put in their email and or cell and click this button, they are immediately within under 10 seconds logged in as a new lead on your dashboard and hashtag. That hashtag can then in turn trigger the listing alert and or a landing or a smart campaign. It's also going to send them right to your site to view that list of listings and auto sign them in on your website. And all of that happens in 10 seconds. When you're looking at the squeeze page, they're going to click and be sent directly to the website to see the listings. And then after 2 views of a property, they're going to be prompted to sign in. So that's the difference in the registration ask. Now, if you're looking to ask for a name, what you would want to do is create like a Facebook forum or a Cognito form or something of that nature where you can actually have a little more qualifying questions going in. And we have some information on forms. If we go over to our YouTube channel, you can always use this little search guy here. So I'm just going to do a quick keyword forms. So this one came out about a month ago on open houses. And then this one is also all about Google and API Nation forms, Constant Contact, MailChimp, and so forth. So there's all sorts of different types of lead form ads you can run and learn about here. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that link to those results and pop them into chat for everybody. And Patricia's saying, how do you get people to your Facebook page to see these lists of properties? So when we're talking free organic links, you can take any of the links you create in kvCORE, whether it's a squeeze page, a landing page, post them to local groups that maybe you own and operate on Facebook. You can post them to your business page and then share that business page to your own timeline if you mix in, business onto your own personal timeline and page. If you want to put a little money into the game, that's when you would start doing Facebook advertising for specific areas or targets. So you could either do Facebook advertising, via kvCORE, where you look at our options in our marketplace here, and you go to leads. So you have the ability here for us to do a little Facebook AI advertising, and then we take a little bit of that advertising push and retarget those folks on Facebook. So it gets kind of like a nice, low, soft presence of you built in front of them on Facebook. You've also got different options, whether it's going to be get seller leads, where we focus on setting up market reports and soft CMAs for you to follow up on, or whether you're looking at the core property boost for single listings. You also have the core multi-channel, which actually combines in both Facebook and Instagram lead form ads, as well as Google display retargeting of those folks on Google. And you also have a built-in person to call and try to qualify those people for you, so you don't have to worry about it initially. Then they pass them off to you when they're warmed up and ready to speak with an agent. And then also you have your get buyer leads. Similar to get seller, you purchase a specific area, and we don't sell that to anyone else within the kvCORE world. So it's because that becomes like your lead hub and your lead hub alone. But all of these would be built in more to have that lead form information, where we're pulling information automatically from Facebook, which is normally the first name, last name, email, phone number, and address if they have it available. And let me check the questions again here. Let me make sure. I see your next question, Brent. Let's see here. All right, now we're on to Brent. I think if I missed anybody, please let me know. So Brent, off topic. The way I look at life is that we're just kind of pivoting. There's no off topic when it comes to kvCORE in these sessions. So I appreciate the question. He's asking about Craigslist auto post. So with yours, Brent, I'm gonna have to follow up on that specifically because it sounds like it was a support type question. So I haven't heard of this, but I'll have to take a look here. So let me make a note for Brent Hammonds. And that was a CL question. I'll loop back to you on that. Okay, and then Ron Kamel. Hey, Ron, good to see you too. For the get buyer leads, is that Facebook or Google? So for get buyer leads, this one is exclusively Facebook. So that's going to use the Facebook lead form ad to get that contact information of name, email, phone, pulling directly from their Facebook account. If you're going to be looking for other types of opportunity on Google, that's when you're going to look to the managed pay-per-click ads, as well as the Google display branded retargeting. And then Google is also built in for retargeting on the core multi-channel. So that retargets the Facebook people that come in on that one. Okay, one last thing I want to make sure we touch on before we wrap up, because there's been some amazing questions, is we've kind of gone through and said, all right, well, when we build in, this squeeze page, if we look for this squeeze page or landing page now, we can go to all lead engine tools. And you can actually click in here, like for your domain, to see all of your past landing pages you've built. So here's the landing page I just built for this one. So we know we have a landing page and a squeeze page that points people back to our website to become contacts. And when they register, they're going to be tagged with this tag. And we also know this tag kicks off the search alert for that specific type of listing, right? So when we put in the SD County here, we know that this tag also kicks off a listing alert. We can also build other calls to actions in, such as what Brent was referring to a moment ago, like with market reports, or maybe you want to send them all homes that are water view or something. You can actually go into your all marketing smart campaigns and you can actually say, I want to use the conversation starter campaign or the new buyer campaign or the new seller campaign, but I want to change it up a little bit so it reflects more of the area that they're responding to. So for instance, if you wanted to use the conversation starter, you're going to go into the kvCORE library and just type in, conversation or CONV, and you'll find it here. This is a nice, easygoing conversation starting campaign for buyer leads. And what you can do is just click add to my library to bring a copy over. And then we're going to go over to my campaigns. And we're just going to put that back in here to search for the one we just brought in. So here's the one we just brought in. And we're going to affect change to this to say, whenever this hashtag lands, I want this specific campaign to trigger. So the first thing we're going to do is go into our campaign setting over here. And we're going to click edit. And we're going to say, whenever the hashtag is, and then you could say, what was it, SDCTY. And then it was buyers 500, 800, red for reduced. So whenever that tag lands, I want this campaign to connect for buyers. And this is going to be my campaign for XYZ. So it's a 7-day conversation starting campaign for buyer leads for San Diego County. And that was for, 500 to 700 or 800K reduced. So normally what I do is once I change this up, I'll go and copy this and I'll just add it in right there. And there's a little bit of a limitation on what can be written here. So maybe this is just like day 7, or I mean the 7-day conversation starter, San Diego County. Then you could just put in like the abbreviation here. And then you have it named and like a little description of what it's for. Then you can click next, and now you can kind of get that overall view. So you can say, all right, well, it's coming from, okay, so it's something I created for myself. It's an agent point of view. Whenever this tag lands, I want this conversation starter campaign to go out. Finish. So now we have it connected, but we have to maybe add up some different things. So you'll see here that there's like things that'll automate, like an instant thank you text. You're going to email them a handpicked offer. Well, that handpicked offer is already being set in motion because you already have that tag kicking off the alerts, so that's taken care of. But if you look here at day 5, this one's all about open houses. We need to actually add in that open house link or rename it if there's no open houses available. Because in some areas, there still aren't open houses open, right? So now we can go in and affect change to this template. So we have to change this piece of the pie only. We're going to go back to all campaigns, templates. We're going to be changing an email template. So we're going to make sure this has a little blue line under email, and we're just going to put in day 5. And that is that conversation starter. So now we can click clone. And we can see if there are open houses out there. So I can go right back to my squeeze page, right? I can click more filters. And I can tick on there if there's an open house. I might remove reduced just to kind of see. So if I keep it at open house and reduced, not too sure what type of result we're going to get here. Probably a goose egg, I'm guessing. Yeah. So what we might do in this case is just do all open houses in San Diego County that have those parameters except for reduced. Yeah. So no open houses there. So maybe in this case, we say, all right, well, actually, I want to send a list of pool homes. So then this would be your link. You could just go up in your browser, grab that link, copy it, go back into this template. And this is where we could say, oh, darn it, it didn't call it. Sometimes you have to refresh that clone. Yeah. So here's a quick link to all upcoming open houses. This is where you just might be like, here's a quick link to all pool homes in Sandy, county between 500 to 800K. And then I always get rid of this little guy, and then I hyperlink this whole sentence, or you can do like a click here to get this. But if you use your highlight in the new Control K, that's a little shortcut to embed that link. So then you'll do a Control V to paste in the link. And then the last thing you'll do is open in a new window. That way it keeps the email open that you sent them, and it opens up your link to view properties on your website. Save. Now the only thing we need to do is update this information. So instead of open houses this weekend, maybe it's like splash into your new pool home. And then normally I just copy that and I drop it in right here. And then I click clone template. So now we have our original conversation starter, like the original one. And now we have the one we just created. And now we need to go back to the campaign right here. We will go down here to day 5 and get rid of the one that we're going to remove and replace. Add, email, paste in the name, choose the match. And then you can say, all right, well, this is going to go out on this increment. So it's going to go out on day 5. Now, the last thing I can do is just flip this little dude on, campaign active. And now we have a hashtag showing you where they are in your smart CRM, where you can actually create a mass email, a mass text, a mass video, a scheduled mass email letter, whether it's a newsletter or a listing announcement, open house. You also know this tag is going to kick off a smart campaign and a listing alert. And all of that can be taken care of in really a short amount of time to invest in yourself. So you don't come back with a big old eye twitch like 2 weeks later thinking, oh, shoot, I got to add these hashtags and these listing alerts and these campaigns. All right, and I have just a couple of questions left, and I do need to wrap up here. Let's see here. Bob is saying, the seller question, used a text code and trying to generate seller leads. 2 things, the lead still comes in as a buyer. So Bob, I would need to know what you set up to go out in that text code and how they were coming in. If you're going to create a text code for like a valuation, what you could do is you could go into your build squeeze and you can go into your seller squeeze right here. And then this is where you could say, my hashtag is going to be, maybe I'm going to do San Diego County report. That'll be my tag. And then I'm going to pull in San Diego County to be this, maybe spelling is key again there, Brent, right? So then you can put in your area and you can say, I'm going to create a single seller squeeze to put into a text code. So you can create generate link. And because we're going to put it into a text code, it can be this little shorty, but never use the short link on Facebook if they don't like it. So let's grab this link. And we know it's going to have the tag of SD County Report. So now we're going to go into our lead engine into call and text capture. And what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to right click over this tab and open it in a new tab. That gives me the ability to keep my squeeze page open and my text code I'm going to work on. So now I can click add new and I can say whenever the hashtag of Estes County report lands. I want this message to go out for like, thanks for inquiring, use this link to see what your home may sell for in today's market. Or your property maybe. And all of a sudden I can't type. Okay. And then the code that they text in might be something unique to you. Maybe it's report or report one or $sign. But anytime you create a custom code here and you're tying it to your company office or team smart number, that is your code and your code alone. No one else within that company office or team can use that text code. So lock them down. Lock down the easy ones. So now we know whenever somebody texts code to the smart number, whether it's my company office or team or my own as an agent, they're going to be sent this information and they'll be tagged with the SD County report. And then I just choose the number. Add. So now you've set a custom text code to take people to that valuation site. And when they sign up via that valuation, they land as a seller lead. And let's see, there's a couple of other questions on sellers. Let's see here. Is there a way to send a seller a monthly marketing report? Yes, there's a couple of things you can do. One of them is empowering your contacts on your site. So what you can do is maybe like a tip of the week from XYZ, from Bob, Patricia, whoever. You can actually say, hey, don't forget to click free market report on my site to keep active tabs on the real estate health of that area. So they can actually click free market report after they've done a search. And it's going to run something real time for them when they're signed in. You can say, I'm signed in up here. And it's going to pull all of those statistics from our third-party generation plus statistics from the MLS. Might take a moment because it's a large area, but it's going to pull those stats. So it'll always tell them how many are new, off market, days off market, average home price, is it up or down, where are those reductions, square footage, recent and sold, most expensive, popular, and then they can click subscribe now. You can also go into someone's contact record. So if we're going into your smart CRM, and maybe you go into your filter and you're like, ooh, hey, I should probably see who needs market reports. So you can go in here and you can say, I want to see everyone who is a contact detailed being a seller, who has an email that has a behavior of no market reports. Apply. Then you can save it if you want to, like, sellers who need market reports. You can pin it if you want to. Then you can pop right up to the top, and then you have your list. So then you could pop into like, Dan in NYC, Daniel Krisafi. But then you could go into these and be like, all right, well, what do we know about these people? So they've come in, they are a seller who has a home in Carlsbad on Gateway Road. So what you can do is pop over here to the right-hand side. This is all about communications over here. Go to market report, pop in Carlsbad, choose it. You can choose the area, the city, whatever it is, right? And then you can say, I want this to go every X days, add. And then the system will automatically start sending that on that basis that you created here. When they opt in for their own, you're also going to see it over here as an option. And then Ivy had a question. If you're creating a squeeze page or search alert looking for a specific school area, will it only grab listings within that area? So that can be a little tricky depending on your MLS. Sometimes some of you out there that have MLSs that actually grab school districts, you can go into your website manager and then settings. And if you click on listings here, so you're going to go website manager, settings, listings, and this will show you like what types you have showing up on your site. So you can change this up anytime. If it's checked, it's the type that shows on your site. If it's unchecked, no, we're not going to show commercial or mobiles or whatever, right? At the bottom here, you've got these popular options, and these are basically pulling from filters from your own MLS. So if you have one in here like a school district, you might be able to I'm going to zip down here really fast. If you get vertigo, don't look. If we look in here, we might be able to see school district. I don't know if this one has it or not, but we'll find out. I don't see school in there, so maybe district or something, but it just depends on how your MLS, what they call it. And I don't see that this one does. So, depending on your MLS, sometimes these can come in super handy, sometimes just not, depending on how they call something. But you can put in a lot of really great additional information here to show up on the front side of your site, such as, amenities like the ADA accessible, or is there an association fee, elevators, fencing, all that good stuff. And that actually shows up when people are looking at your site, when they look at more filters. They show up here right below these other options that are baked in. So like everything here where there's general, financial, structural, these are all included. And then anything you add in additionally land here. And then just the regular keyword bucket would be at the very bottom. So I don't know if we could put in a school district here and see what might show up. But yeah, there's no sub list that comes up for this with this MLS. So you would just need to, take a look at that and explore your options within your own MLS here. Okay. Okay, and then the last thing you might want to consider when you're setting up a listing alert for someone in that area, was that Ivy who asked? Yeah. When you're looking at a specific contact, and maybe we're looking at Richard here, and we're going to set up alerts. You can do that here at the top or over here in communications. We could go in here and we can draw on a map. So if you knew where that school district was, you'd be able to go in and drop your area and then just say, okay, well, it's this school district here. It's this really weird, wonky, jigged in and jigged out area that I have to draw to capture those listings. So you have the ability to do that, or you could, you could draw on map, or you could just kind of give it your best shot with what your MLS allows for the pulling in of that district. Yeah, this one just pulls up neighborhood districts, it looks like. This one might pull in the area per school though. So let's take a look at that. Nope. Okay, and I saw one more question. Well, I don't know who you are, Galaxy Note 8, but hello. I am new to this and need some help. How can I get assistance? So you've already taken a great step by being in this course, and thank you very much for being here. This particular course runs Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, every day of that week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. And you can see that training calendar right here. Just choose your specific time zone, and you'll see what courses are offered that day for free. Also, via your dashboard, you've got your Agent Quick Start and Success Plan here at the top right, your little access for quickly getting to it, or pop on down here and on this left-hand side, you've got your support and training. I'm gonna get my screen back to 100% here. So within this, you've got your support docs. When you click on this, it opens up all of our written documentation. So what do you need to set up your profile, import leads, start using your website, and like, what are we looking for initially? And then it kind of pops you into our discussion. I'm sorry, not our discussion, but our article wiki per se. And it kind of talks about how do I set up my overview for my profile, my basic profile fields, contact information, all that. If you also go in here and go to courses, These are all free courses that are baked in and available for you to access 24/7, 365, much like the articles. So you've got your Agent Quick Start. If you are newer to kvCORE and you're wondering what the difference is to these, this one's being sunsetted. There were still some people finishing it out, but the majority of all new users should be taking the Agent Quick Start. This is like our 2.0 of the 1.0 success plan. Also within this, we have our how to do your daily calls and tasks, converting your contacts into lead conversations and closings. If you've got a bunch of people in your system and you're like, these people are dead to me, like that, and they're not doing anything, they're junk leads. Well, no, not so fast. Maybe watch this course and give them a little lead CPR. Maybe you want to find out about, hey, I want to post more to social media, but what do I do? This is all a more, how do I post? When do I post? What should I post? How frequently should I post? So there's all sorts of really great little nuggets in here for you to access anytime. If you're wanting more of a done for you service or coaching one-on-one, you can go into the marketplace here on the left-hand side of kvCORE, and all the way across the top right, you'll see coaching. And this is my little world with Heather, our co-coach who's working with us. So I run the core coaching one-on-one and the setup, and I also take part in our next level mastermind, which is all about all of these other next level strategies in leveraging kvCORE to be useful and successful in your day-to-day real estate business. And then if you're like, oh my gosh, you know what? I am not the kind of person that sits and writes campaigns. I'm not the person that wants to learn how to do ad spend. I want this stuff done for me, like newsletters, blogs. You can actually go for the done for you success services, where you meet with Heather for a consultation on what your vision that you want to execute is. And then she gives you a statement of work quote after she works up what you're seeking. And then you decide, yes, let's go for the whole thing. Let's go for just a piece of the pie, or no, I can't do it right now. But these would be great resources for you to check out anytime. And then there was another question, it looks like from Patricia. I was able to add a video on my home page, but it was full width. So let's take a look at that. So let's take a look at this one. Then I need to close out here just to kind of see what might be percolating there on the site. So you're saying you want to add a video here, Patricia? It's not there now. Okay, so let me pause my dashboard real quick and we'll just jump into yours. And I think I have a feeling on why this is happening. So be one moment for me to jump into Patricia's site and we'll take a little look at why that might not be firing. Do you have any type of link sitting in there at all right now, Patricia? Like the video, like the link of the video, or but not full width video, not at top below under financing. Well, why don't you, I'm going to send you my email address, and if any of you out there have questions on coaching or anything, let me know. But I do ask that if you're ever seeking something in general, always use your tools within chat of asking a question with chat or using your help articles. Also, your support and training support docs are over here. So I'm going to give you my email address. Patricia, if you wanted to send that to me and I can take a look, or if possible, talk with support to see what might have happened there, that would be great. And then Galaxy Note 8 is asking, can you add video testimonials to your website? Yes. All you need to do is, like, say this is the video. Grab your share down here at the bottom, click your embed code, copy this, and then put it into the testimonial. And that should work just fine. All right. Well, we ran almost a half an hour long, but that was a really fun session, everybody. So thank you so much for being. Thank you, for sticking with. And this was recorded and streamed to YouTube. You'll always be able to find all of this content at the insiderealestate.com/YouTube, as well as this doc sheet right here. And hopefully this was a really great investment of time for all of you. If you learned anything, please let me know. Put a little message in right now to see if you learned anything. This is really good content. Keep it up. Also, what are you seeking to learn? You can contact us anytime to let us know, like, this is what I need. This is kind of what gets me in the right direction. This enthuses me to really dive in a little deeper. These are the things that we're seeking to provide to you to make sure that you are getting your bang for the buck and that all of your investment is working. So thank you so much for being here. We will be back tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, and we'll catch you later. Bye, everybody. Bye, Roland.